Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. What if I told you that the Detroit Lions, a team that's already been making waves in recent seasons, might be on the verge of pulling off one of the most surprising moves of the offseason? That's right, there's a real buzz around the NFL community, suggesting that the Lions could be eyeing a blockbuster trade that would shake up the entire division. And the centerpiece of this rumor, none other than Miami Dolphins star receiver Tyreek Hill. Yes, you heard that right. The same Tyreek Hill, who's been one of the most explosive playmakers in the league for years, could be heading to Detroit, and the implications are enormous. But before we get into how this could happen and what it means for the Lions, let's set the stage. The Detroit Lions, after a highly promising 2024 season, have been riding high expectations. Fans are eager to see if this team can finally take the next step and reach the Super Bowl. And honestly, with the roster they've built under Dan Campbell's leadership, they're not just hoping, they're expecting. The roster is stacked on offense and defense, but what's been fascinating is how they've navigated a pretty significant offseason shakeup. For starters, the coaching staff has seen some major changes. Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson left to take the head coaching role with the Chicago Bears, a move that surprised many but also opened opportunities for new creative strategies. On the defensive side, Aaron Glenn, the former defensive coordinator, moved on to the New York Jets, which means the Lions have had to adapt and restructure their defensive coaching staff as well. And it's not just coaching. The roster has seen some tough losses, too. The Lions' stalwart center, Frank Ragnow, decided to retire, a move that leaves a big gap in the offensive line. Kevin Zeitler, a dependable guard, moved on to the Tennessee Titans in free agency. These are significant losses, and they've naturally raised questions about how the Lions will fill these gaps and whether they'll bolster their roster with some last-minute moves before the season kicks off. The team remains a favorite to contend in the NFC, especially with Jared Goff leading the offense, a quarterback who's proven that with the right support, he can be among the league's elite. But the question remains, could the Lions be looking to make a bold move to ensure their Super Bowl window stays wide open? Now here's where things get really interesting. Among all the rumors and speculation, there's a particularly spicy one that has everyone talking about a potential trade for Tyreek Hill. Why Hill? Well, he's been one of the league's most electrifying receivers, known for his blazing speed and game-changing plays. But interestingly, there's been some chatter suggesting that Hill might be on the move from the Dolphins. And this isn't just idle talk. It stems from a post-game interview Hill gave after the Dolphins' Week 18 loss last season, where he seemed to hint that he might want out. That, combined with some off-field comments and the offseason buzz, has fueled speculation that Miami might be open to trading their superstar receiver, even though GM Chris Grier has publicly said they have no plans to do so. And here's where it gets even more intriguing for Lions fans. Some NFL insiders and analysts believe that Detroit could be a perfect landing spot for Hill. One of them, Andrew Bullerus from Sportsnot, has gone as far as suggesting that a trade could involve a swap. Jameson Williams going to Miami in exchange for Tyreek Hill. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jameson Williams is a young, promising receiver and Detroit fans are pretty high on him. He's only 24 years old, and he's shown flashes of brilliance when healthy, with that incredible speed and playmaking ability. But the trade idea hinges on the Lions' desire to add an elite, proven deep threat to their arsenal, especially one that can stretch defenses and create explosive plays. Hill fits that mold perfectly. However, there's a lot of context to consider. The Lions' current roster is already pretty loaded at receiver, especially after drafting Isaac T. Slaw in the third round of this year's draft. But Hill isn't just any receiver, he's a game changer. His contract, though, is a big factor. Hill is a 31-year-old player, and trading for him would almost certainly mean taking on a short-term rental, probably just for a year or two. That's a big gamble, especially for a team like Detroit that's looking to contend not just this year, but in the next 2-5 seasons. They've built a roster designed to win now, with an eye towards sustained success, so giving up a young player like Williams, who still has 2 years left on his contract, might not be the smartest move financially or strategically. Plus, let's talk about the contract dynamics. Hill, despite being a top receiver, has seen some signs of decline, especially last season. His production dipped slightly, and at 31, questions about his longevity and consistency are popping up. On the other hand, Jameson Williams is just entering his prime, and his upside is massive. If the Lions were to consider trading him, it would be more about the team's overall strategy. Are they willing to gamble on immediate star power with Hill, or do they prefer to develop Williams into their long-term deep threat? That's the kind of debate that division rivals and NFL analysts are having right now. But folks, let's be honest. While the idea of trading for Hill is tempting because of his firepower, it's probably unlikely that the Lions would go all in on such a swap. The financial implications, the age factor, and the team's current trajectory all point toward keeping Williams and continuing to develop their young core. Still, it's fun to think about the possibilities, isn't it? The NFL offseason is all about these kinds of rumors, and Detroit is right in the middle of it, with fans dreaming big about how they could make a splash and really shake up the division. Now, with all that said, let's remember that this is a prediction, not a report. Nothing is set in stone, and NFL teams are notorious for surprising us. But what's clear is that the Lions are always looking to improve, always looking for that edge to push them closer to the Super Bowl. Whether that's through internal development, strategic drafts, or bold trades, they seem to be willing to explore every option. And if a trade for Tyreek Hill does happen, it would be a statement, a clear sign that the Lions are all in for this era, ready to make a serious push for the title. And here's the thing, Lions fans. We've seen this team grow so much over the past few years. From that emotional victory against the Packers to the playoff appearance last season, there's a real sense that this team has what it takes to go all the way. Jared Goff has proven he can lead, the defense is solid, and the coaching staff under Dan Campbell is one of the most passionate and innovative in the league. But to truly take that leap and contend for a Super Bowl, sometimes you need that one bold move. Whether or not it involves Hill, one thing is for sure. The Detroit Lions are not content with just being good. They want to be great, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So Lions fans, keep your eyes peeled. The offseason is far from over, and with all these rumors flying around, the next few weeks could be crucial. Will they pull off a blockbuster trade? Will they stick with their core and build through the draft? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, Detroit is on the rise, and the best is yet to come. The NFC North is getting more competitive, and the Lions are clearly positioning themselves as the team to beat. This season promises to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Detroit Lions news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And finally, Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all of this? Do you think a trade for Hill makes sense? Would you be willing to give up Jameson Williams or other assets to bring in a player of Hill's caliber? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news. The offseason is heating up, and the Lions are right in the middle of it, ready to make waves. Thanks for sticking with me, and as always, go Lions.